Today we're taking a look at a lens adapter that has a built-in variable neutral density filter. This is the Canon FD to Canon EOS R ND Throttle lens adapter. This adapter is designed to adapt vintage Canon FD lenses to a Canon RF mount camera like this EOS R100 right here. But not only does this adapter adapt vintage Canon FD lenses to your RF camera, it also has a built-in variable neutral density filter. And to adjust the VND filter, we actually turn this ring right here. We can actually crank in the amount of ND filtration we want. I'll show you right here. We can go from 2 to 8 stops of ND filtration. Now this is a very durable professional grade adapter. As you can see, it's all metal. It's got a really nice professional finish to it, so it'll blend in really well with your Canon RF professional gear. And the reason we make this adapter is a lot of people like using vintage Canon FD lenses, such as this Canon FD 50mm f1.8 lens. This is a beautiful little prime lens, very affordable, and you can create really nice, beautiful photos and videos with this lens. It's a favorite of a lot of creatives, and if you are a creative who shoots with a Canon RF camera like this, to use this lens on this camera, you're going to need a lens adapter, and if you're shooting video, it's really nice to have the variable neutral density filter built right into the adapter. If you're shooting with the Canon FD lens open all the way at f1.8, you're going to definitely need that 8 stops of ND filtration. Crank that in, and it'll allow you to shoot beautiful shallow depth of field video at a usable cinematic frame rate. Now, how are we able to adapt a vintage lens to a modern mirrorless camera? How does that work? Well, the answer is fairly simple. It's all down to focal flange distance. As you can see with this little EOS R camera, there's not much space between where the lens mounts and where the sensor is. There's not much space at all. But with these older Canon FD lenses and other types of lenses like this, there's actually a lot more space required between where the lens mounted and where the film plane was. And that was because older cameras had a little mirror that would flap up and down. Because lenses like this require that extra focal flange distance space, we are able to mount a lens adapter between them and a mirrorless camera. And we can just make a standard lens adapter, and we do, but we also make specialty lens adapters like this ND Throttle adapter with a built-in variable neutral density filter. Here's how to mount the Canon FD lens on the adapter. We'll first start out by making sure that the install arrow is lined up with the other white arrow. Secondly, we're going to line up the red mounting dot on the adapter with the red mounting dot on the lens. Press the lens into the adapter and rotate it to lock it into place. And then we're just going to also turn this ring here. There we go. Now we've got this vintage FD lens adapted to the ND throttle. And like I said before, you can go from minimum variable ND filtration, which is 2 stops. You can rotate it all the way to the max, which is 8 stops of ND filtration. And also another cool thing this adapter has is it actually has an aperture control ring. You can rotate this to smoothly adjust from the maximum to the minimum aperture. And this is great if you want that fine-tuned aperture control, if you want to smoothly iris between aperture settings, especially if you're shooting video. This allows you to have a much smoother adjustment because, as you see, if I just use the aperture controls on the lens itself, they're actually clicked. So they click between each setting. So if I was making this adjustment in a live video as I was recording, you would see each click. But if I rotate the aperture control lever on the adapter, I can smoothly adjust. And then of course, to mount the lens and adapter on our EOS R camera, that's as simple as mounting an EOS R lens on the EOS R camera. You're just going to line up the mounting dot on the adapter with the mounting dot on the camera, rotate it to lock it into place. There we go. Now we've got this beautiful vintage Canon FD lens adapted to our little scrappy EOS R100. This is a very cheap, affordable EOS R camera, and I could have mounted this on a much nicer EOS R camera, but I just wanted to show off that you can use these adapters on any RF mount Canon camera. Now, like I said, this is a great setup for shooting shallow depth of field cinematic video. You just crank in your variable neutral density filter, set your aperture all the way to f1.8, and you can control the light coming through the lens, hitting the sensor, and you can create really nice, beautiful cinematic footage. But another cool thing you can do with this adapter is shoot long exposure photography. You can crank all the way to the maximum 8 stops of ND filtration, then set your aperture to 16 or even 22, and then you'll use the light meter in the camera to pick a shutter speed. In this case, it's going to be at least a couple seconds in bright sunlight, and the finished image will look like this, a beautiful long exposure photo. Now, using the maximum ND filtration on a long exposure photo will adjust the colors a little bit. It will give it a bit of a tint. You can easily color correct this out for a beautiful shot like this. Okay, that was a quick look at our ND Throttle lens adapter, specifically our Canon FD to Canon RF adapter, but we make ND Throttle adapters for all mirrorless camera systems, and they support various vintage and modern lenses. So if you're looking for a specific combination in our ND Throttle line, comment below. I'd love to help you out, point you to what adapter you will need to adapt your specific lens to your specific camera. Also, comment below if you have any questions about this adapter, different things you can do with it. Comment below, love to help you out with those questions as well. Also, click right here to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos just like this one. I'm Sean with Fotodiox.com, and thanks for watching.